The great thing about youth sports, they give young people an opportunity to participate in something that is going to broaden them as people.
I think it's very amazing that Garza Law Firm has made a commitment to help the youth kids with playing different sports.
Guys like Marcos Garza that put their time into being able to help these kids live out a dream. It's made me who I am today.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
First opened in 1965, Fuji Speedway has undergone numerous reconfigurations to get to its current layout. The fifth and most recent design, authored by the internationally recognized Herman Tilke, clocks in at 2.835 miles and features 16 turns. Its front stretch is responsible for nearly a mile of that length, forcing drivers to push for top speed coming off the final corner, Panasonic, before diving down into turn number 1. Since 1967, Fuji Speedway has been a frequent host of prominent endurance races, starting with the Fuji 1000 that year and then evolving into the Fuji 6 Hours in 2012. The track hosted its first Japanese Grand Prix in 1976, and that event returned in 1977, 2007, and 2008, respectively. The track has also been a longtime staple of the Japanese National GT and Formula Series calendars, and its application has been so diverse that it even played host to cycling in the 2020 Summer Olympics. But tonight, it's the Lone Star Racing Sports Car Series, and it's coming up next on HBR TV. Good evening, good afternoon, good day, good morning, wherever you're watching from amongst the world. Thanks for joining us here tonight at Fuji Speedway. This is a classic track. This is one that I remember from various racing games over the years. Certainly excited for this. Race details tonight, pretty simple. It's a 1-hour sprint race around this Fuji Speedway. Current configuration, again, 2.8 miles, officially 2.78 miles. We're rounding up here a little bit. Air temperature 65 degrees, 54% humidity, partly cloudy skies, 2-mile-an-hour breeze. Track temperature about 74 degrees. Again, nice and cool. Going to make plenty of grip around this place tonight. Qualifying is already underway. Let's go down trackside here and see who is where on the timesheet. Following Lee Tucker in the number 32 at the moment. Got a 10-minute qualifying session. We're just 4 minutes into it at this point. Kyle Moyer currently the fastest on the speedway, a minute 29.210. James Vance goes P1 on 1 minute 28.322. I think Vance was actually down into the minute 27 bracket in practice. See if he can pick up that time. Again, 2 laps for everybody out here. We'll switch over to James here as he has already completed lap number 1, minute 28.322 as we said. We'll see what he can do here. Finish out this lap and maybe improve upon that time. Vance is quicker in his first sector compared to the last lap. Sector 2, about even. Ooh, a little slide there. It's not going to help his lap. Final corner for James Vance. Get a gargantuan front straightaway here at Fuji Speedway. Sector 3, even though he had a little slip up, it was better. Second lap, a minute 28.64. Not better than the first. We'll see if Dave Tamira's got anything for him. Second lap for Tamira, 29.35. Britt Osborne on track. Kevin Blue's just going to be the admin tonight. Usually you'd see Kevin out there in a LMP2. It's going to be the eye in the sky this evening. At least that's what we're getting word in the YouTube stream chat. Current GT pulse hitter, Brett Crouch, a minute 37.689. Meanwhile, we're watching Britt Osborne. Matt Sisler goes P3 in LMP2. 1 minute 28.91. Andrew Locke's first lap in LMP2 as well. He's 8th fast on the board. Minute 36.2. Did not have a whole lot of practice tonight. I think Andrew just got into the session with a few minutes remaining. Britt Osborne across the line. Lap invalidated. Meanwhile, Sean Roberts has gone P2 on his first lap, a minute 28.806. Further information coming from Race Control. Cody Steeg and Kyle Surratt both have the EOLs for tonight for their wins at Sebring 2 weeks ago. And interestingly enough, I was reading this early on in one of the SDK problem solver chats in Discord. For some reason, since the update, the LMP2 category isn't showing gaps properly in the timing tower. So you're going to see that right now. You look at the top 10. Those are your faster cars, your LMP2s. You see James Vance, his time, 1:28.322, but everybody else behind him, they've turned laps. I can see them on my side, but they do not present in the tower, unfortunately. I think there is a fix in the works for it, but nothing I can do about it right now. Try to keep everybody on the same page with it as the race progresses. Sean Roberts back to the front straightaway here, hammer down. See if he can knock James Vance off P1 here at the closing minute of qualifying. Not quite enough. Was faster, but not fast enough. 1:28.786 for Sean Roberts. It looks like the majority of the GT cars opting not to take a time. Jesse Redding, Bill Mulfeld, PM Beagle, Kyle Surratt, Cody Steeg, and Kevin Blue. Again, Kevin is in here. We talked about it a moment ago, just as the race admin, race control, if you will. About 10 more seconds officially in the session. I don't think anybody else is going to make this qualifying run at this stage in the session as it ticks down to 10 minutes. That's going to complete it. Checkered flag in the air. Let's get to our starting grid. On the pole position, the number 7 out of Canada with Fast MD Racing, it is James Vance, 1:28.322, a blistering lap. Outside front row, Sean Roberts, the Shenandoah Shine Machine, just about half a tenth off that top time. Row number 2, it's Kyle Moyer in the 9. Matt Sisler with Apex Tech Racing starts 4th. 5th goes to the 21 of Andrew Locke out of New York State, Dave Tamira. The number 14 starts 6th. 7th goes to Garrett Hagan with Foxworth Autosport. 8th starting position, it's Nigel Stock. 9th goes to Tyson Pankow, the number 91. Leo Tucker starts in the 10th position. 11th spot, Kevin Blue officially again not starting this race. He is the race admin, so he will drop down to the tail, not take the green flag. That'll end up being Kyle Surratt, will be 12th. 13th, Jesse Redding. Brack Crouch is 14th. Blake Langley, James Bomar 15th and 16th. 17th, Chris Pio. Britt Osborne 18th. Andy Spicer's got the 19th spot with Cody Steeg 20th. Bill Mulfeld is 21st. 22nd, PM Beagle Shotgun on the field here tonight from Fuji Speedway. It's your starting grid. Getting ready to go to the green flag here in just a moment. Field still sitting, waiting to get rolling. Pretty sure we're going to have a short pace lap here tonight, so we don't have to go almost 3 miles at pace car speed. Calm before the storm here at Fuji. Pace car lights are off. Again, a short parade lap, short formation lap, however you want to categorize it. James Vance already warming the tires, coming to the green flag here in just a brief moment. Again, a split start. The Daytona, I'm sorry, I keep calling them Daytona prototypes. I don't think I've gone a single race without doing it at least once. The LMP2s will fire first. You see the GT category rolling in behind. Staggered start. Pace car peels off.
Green flag.
Green flag in the air. LMP2's clean through turn number 1. And now to the GT3 start. They've just crossed the start-finish line. Green flag waves. Into turn number 1, it is Brad Crouch. He's got Blake Langley to his inside. Crouch goes wide to the rumble strip. Up front, battling here, Sean Roberts, Kyle Moyer. That is for second and third position. Roberts sits in the third spot. Kyle Moyer just up ahead. James Vance maintains the lead from pole. James Vance warming the tires again down this long front straightaway. Kind of get a little bit more heat into them here. It's one lap only. They really perform best when they're hot. Back in the GT, Brad Crouch still with the top spot. Brack's had some success on the season so far. Blake Langley runs in the second position in the Ferrari. Third place in GT, it's James Bomar. I think I'm saying it right. Only a trio of Mercedes in the field tonight. Brad Crouch, James Bomar, and Cody Steeg. Getting a report that we might have had an issue with Garrett Hagen on track. Possibly two separate issues. Hagen in the 30 machine, the LMP2. Sounds like trouble ahead. He gets in way deep. Then we had another incident. Was this exiting? Or does he have damage that caused this next issue on track? We'll see. Now just puts power down a little bit too soon. The prior contact certainly probably not helping the situation. Top three in GT remain the same. Brad Crouch, Blake Langley, James Bomar. Up front, overall standings, James Vance, Sean Roberts now up to P2, Kyle Moyer down to third. take a look at that pass for the second spot. Roberts gets the run down the front straightaway, gets alongside of Moyer. Oh, and contact from behind. Dave Tamira looks like he made contact with Moyer, got way late on the brakes, unable to woe it down. I'll watch it from Dave's perspective here. Yeah, I think Dave Tamira just missed his braking point entirely there, way deep into turn number 1, or just underestimated the amount of slipstream he had. James Vance out to a 3.5-second advantage over second place Roberts. Sean Roberts just looking to have another solid day. He's had some real bad luck issues here, really from the onset of the season at Daytona. We had a strong car, ran really well. Thought he had a top 3 finish at best, at worst, really. And then it's kind of a domino effect from there on in about how many crashes he could have. Unfortunately, not all of his doing, but it went from good to bad and bad to worse awfully fast, and unfortunately that luck has kind of continued throughout most of the season. So far, so good. Again, 6 minutes in of this 60-minute race here at Fuji Speedway, running in the second spot. Andrew Locke now takes over the third spot. He's gone by Moyer as well. Again, Locke and James Vance, both teammates. He's got to try and keep pace with Andrew Locke, spinning that car a little bit sideways. Locke having trouble putting the power down as well. These cars are trimmed out pretty significantly, again, trying to take advantage all that they can of that super long front straightaway. We're talking almost a mile. If you put a little too much downforce, it's going to add drag to the race car. You're really going to lose time going down the straightaway. Again, we're running open setups here in this series. So it's really a gamble, more of a balancing act, if you will, how much downforce you want to take out of the race car. Plenty of speed down the front straightaway, but trim it out too much, it's going to be horrible through the rest of the circuit, which is a lot of technical left-right sections. Brad Crouch has lost the top spot to Blake Langley in the Ferrari. Kind of surprising to see. The Mercedes has been so dominant this season since its relatively recent release from the iRacing service. Gets in way deep into one. Late braking for Brad Crouch. Right to the back bumper of Langley. No contact made. Langley drives out of the corner. Let's go back and take a look at the pass for the lead in GT. Blake Langley passing Brad Crouch. Just dives it to the bottom. It's almost like Brack let him go. Save the tires for later on. Maybe in a fuel strategy. Hard to say right now. Again, early on. Pretty straightforward pass for the lead. Brack is still right there, though, not giving an inch. Car length at most that he is now behind Langley. Again, this is the battle for the lead in GT. Langley took it over a few laps ago. Crouch still in pursuit, loses a couple more car lengths, gains it back under braking. It's really not where I'd expect to see him gain time between himself and a Ferrari. Ferrari a little bit lower to the ground, a little bit wider, probably a little bit better brakes, probably a little bit lighter. I think I said that twice. Nonetheless, though, the Ferrari actually pulls away on the straightaway. The Mercedes tucks in the draft. That's going to allow him to stay up there, but Langley changes lanes, try to break up that slipstream just a bit. LMP2 is starting to get into the GT traffic. Again, Dave Tamira, the number 14, he's closed in on the GT leaders. Tamira tiptoeing through GT traffic. He's got the top two clear and he continues on. Tamira's back to the 11th position. I don't know if he made a pit stop. He did indeed. My assumption there is to repair some damage to the nose of that race car that was inflicted when he got into the back of Kyle Moyer down into turn number 1. Right on board with Brad Crouch in the second spot in GT3. Sticking right with Langley in the Ferrari. And I gotta wonder if Crouch let him go just to kind of give it up, give him someone to chase. Sometimes it's a lot easier to do, to be there in the second spot and have a car out in front as a reference. The problem is you get really close. If you are faster than the guy in front of you, you kind of lose that reference. You don't have time to react. If you're working off the brake lights of the guy in front of you, you're going to be late on them every time, and you run the risk of hitting the guy. You really need to focus on some markers to the left or the right on corner entry, some solid landmark that doesn't change, kind of give you an indication as to when you can hit the brakes. Now, with all that, we're going to talk road racing for a moment. Really anything where you got to get on the brakes in racing, whether it's oval or road racing. As the car gets lighter on less fuel and the tires wear, those brake markers can change a little bit. Light fuel, fresh tires, you can go a little bit deeper into the braking zone before really getting hard on them. The problem with that is if you don't nail that braking zone, you can't drive out of the corner. You don't carry quite as much speed. So some guys will be real late on the brakes. I know Andrew Locke likes to be late on the brakes into the corners. Some guys will back up the entry to a big slow corner just so they can get on the throttle sooner. That comes in handy when you've got a long straightaway on the exit of that corner. Many times you see that. Watkins Glen getting down into turn number 1, they back up their entry or get on the brakes a little sooner than you'd want to. That way they can get back to the throttle and maximize the straightaway speed that they'll carry out of the S's and down the backstretch. Very similar circumstance here out of Panasonic, that final corner number 16 that sends you down the front straightaway, which is, we talked about before, almost a mile long. We're into it right now. Back up your entry the best that you can to that corner, maximize your exit speed, maximize the straightaway speed. Set you up for a pass into turn number 1. You see Crouch here not in a position to do that. Too much distance between himself and Langley. But in a perfect world, that's how you do it. See the leader, James Vance. Into the GT traffic as well. Quickly, easily, and efficiently through some slower traffic. That is the key as well. James Vance, of course, has some real-world experience behind the wheel of a prototype vehicle. Not necessarily an LMP2, but an LMP3, very similar. He's also got plenty of experience with the racecraft side of things. That's basically giving him a little bit of an advantage here, getting through some of this traffic, catching slower cars, picking the right places on the racetrack to make those passes so you don't sacrifice as much lap time. Continue to stretch out that lead over Sean Roberts, which now is 4.5 seconds. Trying to get some data up here on the timing tower for you guys for these LMP2 drivers. Again, the gaps are not working for whatever reason. So currently we have the last lap time selected for the entire timing tower. That is that middle column you see. Obviously the gap on the right side, only effective right now for GT cars. It's an issue that SDK Gaming has to get worked out here since the most recent iRacing update. Not the end of the world. They'll get it straightened out. They always do. Sean Roberts now 5.3 seconds behind James Vance. Vance is just putting on the lap time here right now, and he's also got some company. That's Andrew Locke in the third spot, closing in, and Kyle Moyer's around. Let's get a look and see what happened with Moyer. Don't know if he got too hard on the brakes into the corner. He gets through with just a lazy spin. No contact made. He's going to lose a lot of track position, however. Since that incident, though, our top three in LMP2 both ran some pretty quick laps. Vance a 29.19, Roberts a 29.075, and Andrew Locke a 21. All pretty tight times there at the front of the field as we continue to watch that battle shape up. Again, Roberts still in the second spot, Andrew Locke P3. Roberts doing a good job staying out in front of Andrew Locke. Again, last lap for Roberts at 29.56 to Andrew's 29.39. Locke is quicker, but he does have a little bit of the assistance there from the slipstream of Roberts just ahead. Punching a bigger hole in the air, a little less air resistance for the car in behind, so he can go a little bit faster in a straight line. The drawback is in some cases, if you're trying to get through a corner, that's also less air you've got on the nose of the race car, less front downforce. Tend to get a little bit of an understeer if you're in the wake of that car out in front. Tyler Pankow taking a spot from Moyer as well. Kyle Moyer in trouble once again. Car goes around on him. Again, doesn't look like any contact. Let's take a look at it. In fact, let's go back a little further. He might have had an issue here as well. No, just got real lazy into the corner comparative to Tyler. Oh, little bobble. Little left, right, left there for Moyer. That gave him the spot to Tyler Pankow. And then the next couple corners here, I think, is where he has his next issue. Yep, same thing. Just loses the rear end of that race car. With that, we're going to step aside here. We're 20 minutes in of this 60-minute event. We're going to get a quick break out of the way. We're going to go side by side so you won't miss a thing. Stay with us.
The great thing about youth sports, they give young people an opportunity to participate in something that is going to broaden them as people.
I think it's very amazing that Garza Law Firm has made a commitment to help the youth kids with playing different sports.
Guys like Marcos Garza that put their time into being able to help these kids live out a dream. It's made me who I am today.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Fuji Speedway. James Vance continues to lead from pole position, but while we were away, Andrew Locke did take the second position away from Sean Roberts. Let's go back and get a look at it, see how he did it. Gets the run out of Panasonic, a good slipstream down the front straightaway, makes the move to the inside into turn one. Textbook pass by Andrew Locke over Sean Roberts. Moves the 21 into P2. Cody Segan, pit lane. I think this is a scheduled stop, at least you would think. Again, just over 24 minutes into this event. Sieg down and away. And Cody Stieg had a end-of-line penalty at the start of the race tonight. That was his EOL for their win at Sebring. And Leo Tucker, LMP2 machine, he's down pit lane. He's got some right front damage. Fast repair used for the 32. And it looks like Bill Molfeld has crashed. Let's see what's going on with the 911 machine. Doesn't look too terribly damaged. We'll see if we can catch what happened with Bill. Nothing too exciting. A little deep into the corner, puts it off the right side of the curb, straightens it back out, continues on. Through all that, Blake Langley had crashed as well. Again, Blake was out in front in the GT category. Let's see what happened to Blake. And Blake in the Ferrari. That's going to give the lead back to Brett Crouch. Ooh, gets the right side just over the curb into the grass. Another lazy spin. That's pretty much all we've seen here tonight. It's kind of a good thing. It's the advantage at Fuji Speedway. It's fast, it's sweeping, it's technical, but there's a lot of runoff. Didn't need a whole lot of it there, but nonetheless, continues on, just loses the top spot. It's going to be a fun battle to watch as the race progresses, see if he can get that spot back and put it back into the lead. Matt Sisler down pit lane as well. Damage to his number 93 on the right front. Actually, both front corners of that LMP2 have some damage. Nigel Stock also down pit lane. So we're starting to see scheduled stops here from Fuji. Be curious to see when the leaders had planned to do so as well. James Vance, Andrew Locke, Sean Roberts. That's your top three in LMP2. None of those drivers, all the way back to Kyle Moyer, have seen pit lane. Handful of GT3 drivers as well, same situation. 26 minutes in, so they're likely going to be in this for a two-stop strategy for these drivers that are down pit lane this time. Oh, Matt Sisler missed the pit box. Tyler Pankow also in pit lane for his scheduled service. Garrett Hagen in as well. Kyle Moyer. So that leaves the top three drivers, Vance, Locke, and Roberts, yet to hit pit lane. Follow along with them right now, see when they come down for their service. Again, 28 minutes about to go up on the board. We'll see when they opt to pit. Are they on a one-stop strategy? It's tough to say. Again, the LMP3 machines enter this race tonight full fuel load, whereas the GT3 category machines, I think they're only at 70%. Vance stays on the track once again. I think he's trying to stretch it to one stop. I really do. His best lap of the day is a minute 28.99. His last lap was a 29.66. Keeping in mind, probably light on fuel, so that fast lap seems a lot slower comparatively. Or last lap seems a lot slower or faster comparatively than that fastest lap of the day. But if he had fresh tires, if he wasn't in fuel safe mode and had a lighter load of fuel that he's got right now, he'd be well within the 28.5s, maybe even faster. Andrew Locke running about the same pace. A minute 29.52 was his last time by, just about a tenth plus quicker than Vance. Sean Roberts, the fastest of the trio, a minute 29.25 the last time by, also stays on the racetrack. Brett Crouch, your leader in GT. Blake Langley, Chris Pio, still haven't figured out that one. That's your top three. They also remain on the racetrack, as well as PM Beagle and Britt Osborne. And Blake Langley in trouble again. Old tires may be coming into play. James Vance crosses the stripe here. 30 minutes go on the board. He stays out. One-stop strategy for the LMP2s, at least at the front of the field. Andrew Locke, Sean Roberts, same thing. All three drivers stay out. Tyson Pankow in trouble as well. Oh, he hit right in front of our camera. Let's see exactly what happened with Tyson. Number 91 Slapdash Motorsports entry. This happened right in front of the leaders, I think. Ooh, gets to the back of a GT, too fast, goes left. Netcode doesn't help the situation, and it looks like he might have gotten stuck in that tire pack. Vance stays out another lap. These guys have some serious fuel at the beginning of this race. Vance, Locke, Roberts, also all three of them still on the racetrack. Never to see pit lane as of yet. We are past halfway. They can certainly make it on one stop at this point. It's just a matter of how late do they want to wait. Going back down into GT, Brett Crouch, the GT3 leader with some left front damage. Crouch is yet to pit tonight. Blake Langley, Chris Pio, and PM Beagle, that's your top four in GT. They have not pit. Cody Steig, he has. Britt Osborne, Andy Spicer, they have not. So there's really a pretty good mix in GT3 of drivers opting to stay out versus pitting. A handful have, maybe to get some repairs, burn that fast repair to get them to the end. But right now, leaders in both categories opting to stay on the racetrack past the halfway point. James Vance still in command. Tyler Pankow in pit lane. James Vance passes by the pits one more time. Does his teammate Andrew Locke do the same? Looks like he's going to. Sean Roberts alike as well. Right in the slipstream of Locke. Stay on the racetrack once again. Matt Sisler trying to work his way through some GT traffic. This is down the front straightaway. So Andy Spicer hit pit lane. Spicer an Apex Tech entry as well. You know, I was calling him Tyson earlier, and for some reason I switched to Tyler. I really don't know why. Thanks for the heads up on that. Losing my mind over here. Spicer in pit lane. Looks to be scheduled service for the Ferrari. Tyson Pankow, the number 91 Slapdash Motorsports entry, again remains on the pit lane after contact with the wall. Likely, I think he did tow to the pit lane. We saw him kind of disappear from the camera angle for a brief moment and then go right to pit lane. That usually indicates that he opted to tow rather than drive it back to the pits. So that takes some time, plus whatever repairs needs to be effected to get that machine back in the running. Britt Osborne off track once again. Leader in GT goes by. Brett Crouch in the Mercedes. Way wide. Trying to arc this corner the best that he can. Again, that is that final corner. Turn 16, Panasonic. Get you set up for that really long straightaway. Blake Langley hanging on to the second position, though he is about 14 seconds behind leader Brett Crouch. Chris Pio in the third spot, also in a Ferrari. And you have PM Beagle, the only BMW in the field. Cody Stieg also in a Mercedes. Britt Osborne in the Lamborghini. He runs in the 6th position. James Bomar is 7th in the Mercedes. Andy Spicer, 8th position in GT. Ferrari, Bill Mulfeld. Garza Law Firm number 911. 9th in GT. James Vance through the chicane once again. Again, 36 minutes down. Still not to have made a pit stop. The top 3 in LMP2 have stayed on the racetrack. Andy Spicer has crashed. Albeit does not look to be too significant. Maybe just another lazy spin. Let's take a look at it. On the brakes, off the brake. Back into the left-hander, a little early in the apex. Maybe too much rear brake in that Ferrari, hard to say, but it comes around pretty easily. Again, low downforce at this track. PM Beagle also in trouble in the BMW. Put the power down a little bit too heavy. Again, lazy spin after lazy spin. That seems to be the trend here at Fuji Speedway. Low downforce setups, whether it's in GT or LMP2, doesn't seem to matter. Good to see there's nothing major as far as the incidents go, but certainly losing a lot of track position. But it's tended to be happening to a lot of drivers tonight across the board. Seemingly evening things up amongst the rest of the field. Top 3, though, still James Vance, Andrew Locke, Sean Roberts. Now, Kyle Surratt, David Tamira, that's your top 5. Surratt and Tamira both did make their pit stops. Tamira, though, in danger of going down a lap here pretty soon as he's on the front straightaway, and behind him, James Vance not too far in the rearview mirror. There is a GT car in between the two. James Vance did recently turn his fastest lap of the day, 1 minute 28.91, almost a tenth quicker than the previous. Andrew Locke, though, a 28.89. That is his fastest lap of the day, and he's fastest overall amongst the field. Fastest lap of the race. Again, light fuel in these cars certainly makes things different. You can brake a little later. You can get on the throttle a little bit sooner. James Vance very smooth through that right-left complex. And James Vance comes down pit lane this time. Looks to be Andrew Locke following him in. We'll see if he takes tires or fuel only on this stop. Sean Roberts, though, he stays out on the racetrack. He's going to be the last LMP2 to hit pit lane. Hopefully he's got enough to make it back around. He has been in the draft with Andrew Locke for quite some time, so that's going to help him save some fuel as well. There was a little bit of damage to the 7 of James Vance. You saw him use that fast repair just there a moment ago. Fuel only for James Vance. Fuel only for Andrew Locke. So Sean Roberts, your new leader. He's been up in the top 3 all afternoon long. We'll see if he stays out an extra lap just to lead the lap. I don't know if he got across the line in time to get credited with the lap led. It's off turn 16 once again. Down the straightaway. Is he going to jump down pit lane? He is indeed. Sean Roberts down pit lane, the last LMP2 to hit the pit lane tonight. Agonizingly slow. Roberts pitting amongst some GT traffic at the same time. So James Vance currently 40 seconds in the rearview mirror of Sean Roberts. Curious to see how long Roberts sits in pit lane here. That gap is closing quickly. 20 seconds, 15 seconds. Now it's gone. Vance takes the lead back. Roberts down and away. Fuel only as well for the number 15 machine. James Vance way out in front. Andrew Locke 8 seconds in the rearview mirror. Sean Roberts 9 seconds, so he's going to rejoin pretty much right where they all came through. Pit cycling through, it's going to leave Vance back out front. Locke second, Sean Roberts in P3. We're going to take another break here, get it out of the way. It'll be our final break of the event until we see a checkered flag. We'll go side by side once again. Stay with us.
The great thing about youth sports, they give young people an opportunity to participate in something that is going to broaden them as people.
I think it's very amazing that Garza Law Firm has made a commitment to help the youth kids with playing different sports.
Guys like Marcos Garza that put their time into being able to help these kids live out a dream. It's made me who I am today.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Fuji Speedway, the Lone Star Racing Sports Car Series. James Vance continues to lead the LMP2 category, the overall. Started from pole position, gave up that lead just briefly during the pit cycle, regained it. Teammate Andrew Locke second, Sean Roberts, Kyle Surratt, David Tamira, that's your top five. Then it's Lee O. Tucker in the sixth position, Garrett Hagen, Matt Sisler, Nigel Stock, Kyle Moyer. That rounds out the LMP2s. Then Tyson Pankow, not Tyler. He is the last car in the field as far as that end of things are concerned. Tyson had an issue on track, got into the fence, has not returned to the race since then. GT category, Brett Crouch, just finishing up his pit stop. The last car in the field to hit pit lane here with about 45 minutes down. Less than 15 remain. Blake Langley stays in the second spot. Seemed to have a little bit more pace than Crouch early on. Crouch ended up giving up the spot willingly, tucked in behind to use the draft. I think some fuel save strategy was at play, given how long he stayed out on the racetrack. Cody Steeg in the third spot in the Mercedes. Chris Pio in the Ferrari runs fourth. James Bomar in the Mercedes. He runs in the fifth position in GT. PM Beagle in the BMW. He runs in the sixth position. Seventh position, it's the 911 Garza Law Firm Ferrari of Bill Mulfeld. Andy Spicer, 8th in GT, also in a Ferrari. Brett Osborne, 9th. Only Lamborghini in the field. That rounds out the GT field. Little short field here tonight. Not what we're used to seeing. Still 22 cars. Relatively new track on the iRacing service, though. Not everybody has it downloaded. Not everybody's got disposable incomes. It's not too expensive, but spending 10, 15 bucks on a track all the time, it does add up. So not everybody ready to come out here and race this one tonight. That's okay. All goes well, we'll have everybody back next week at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve from Montreal. Then we go to Road America, Belle Isle, the Detroit Grand Prix, Le Mans, and then we finish the season at Road Atlanta. Dave Tamira in pit lane. He's already made one stop today. Not sure if this is unplanned. There doesn't appear to be too much damage, if any, to the number 14. Tamira into the pit box. Not using a fast repair. Again, I think he may have used that early on. That was his first stop of the race, right after getting into the back of Kyle Moyer into turn number 1. So this might be just a top off for fuel to make it to the end. 10 minutes remain, so it was a quick stop for Tamira, but still giving up track position and running order positions. Tamira drops to the 9th spot, just ahead of Kyle Moyer. Tamira coming out in some traffic with GT3 and the LMP2 leader James Vance right in behind. Tamira known to be pretty aggressive in defending his position. I know he's not fighting for a track position here, but he's trying to stay in a lead lap position. See how much pressure Vance puts on Tamira. Whoa, little slip by Tamira, almost contact from Vance. Vance scoots by on the inside. Close call. Andy Spicer in trouble once again. It's been a tough afternoon. Bill Mulfeld involved in this as well. Two Ferraris possibly coming together. Let's see exactly if we can catch what happened as PM Beagle and Blake Langley also get into trouble here. This may shake things up. Beagle and the BMW, some damage on that machine. Suspension damage possibly. Blake Langley with some damage as well. Let's unpack this. Let's look at the Spicer-Mulfeld incident first. Garza Ferrari was ahead at the time. Spicer coming in. Ooh, Mulfeld just loses it on entry, and looks like Spicer does the same thing, just trying to avoid, but then drives it into the Armco, trying to get out of the traffic that was coming. Honestly, it looks terrible, but it was a good move, really, to get out of the way, because you had some real fast LMP2s on the way in. Didn't want to take them out, and it might have been James Vance. I'm not 100% on that. But then we got PM Beagle and Blake Langley. Let's take a look at this here. And Beagle in the BMW, little wiggle there. Again, gets the right sides in the grass. Same corner, it looks like, and just cannot avoid is Langley. Oh, man, that was close. That's a tough spot. You're committed. A lot of these guys didn't see him there until the last second. Everybody doing a pretty decent job to get away. But then Beagle's had some more issues on track right after all this. It's been tough this last lap for the BMW. Might have been trying to nurse it back to pit lane. He's way off the pace. Yeah, you can't get that thing to turn. That's all that was. Back live now. Vance still out in front. Just over 6 minutes remain. James Vance, the leader. The gap back to Andrew Locke. It's 12.8 seconds, and then another 2.5 further back to Sean Roberts. Again, Locke in P2. You see Roberts right there with Andrew. Tamira managing to stay on the lead lap. I stand corrected. He is not on the lead lap. Nigel Stock, the last LMP2 on the lead lap. Brett Crouch still with the GT category lead. Cody Stieg now up into P2, also a Mercedes, but he's got Blake Langley right to the back door. This could be the battle to watch here in the closing minutes of this race. Just about 5 minutes to go. Closest battle on the racetrack really is for position right now is second and third in GT3. That is Cody Stieg in the Mercedes, Blake Langley in the Ferrari. James Vance, LMP2 overall leader, running away with it. 13 seconds the advantage for the 7. The only thing that's going to hurt Langley here is this long straightaway. He has some damage on the nose of that. If he can stay in the draft of the Mercedes, that is going to be ideal. He may want to make his move very, very late, because if he has to cut the hole in the air going down the straightaway himself with no drafting in front of him, it's going to be a big hole, and there's going to be a lot of drag on that Ferrari. He's not going to be able to maintain top speed. That's Sisler there in the LMP2. Cuts in between these two, tries to sneak some draft off the Mercedes. Nigel Stock and Sisler battling for position on the racetrack amidst these GT3 categories, second and third. Sisler and Stock 7th and 8th overall. Stock way deep into turn number 1. Both category leaders, Vance and Crouch, seemingly running away with it. Crouch with a 22-second advantage over the second-place machine. Again, that is Cody Steeg, who's in his own battle with Blake Langley right now. Langley does close the gap quite a bit through the slower portions of the race course. Leader James Vance sneaking by also on the inside. See David Tamira in the LMP2. He's going to close in on this group as well. Hopefully does not interrupt this battle too much. Langley goes to the outside into turn number 1. Not enough there. Defensive line taken by the Mercedes. Cody Steeg knows what he's doing out there. Was not an aggressive block, but definitely took the defensive line into turn number 1. Tamira's going to get on by here pretty easily. These two are going to battle it out continuously here for the second spot. Great battle to watch here at Fuji Speedway for the second position in GT3. Blake Langley all over the back bumper of the Mercedes of Cody Steeg. Less than a minute and 35 seconds remain. Langley looking to the inside. Tries to drive it down there. Nothing doing. Mercedes goes a little wide. Not a whole lot of room to pass there. James Vance, however, he may be looking at a white flag as he gets to the stripe. In fact, I'm pretty sure he will see that. White flag waves. Last lap at Fuji Speedway for James Vance in LMP2. Overall, he started on the pole position. He's led almost the entire race, just a lap or two during the pit cycle. He did not lead those laps. I think that went to Sean Roberts for at least one or two of them. Brett Crouch again running away, 23 seconds on the second place machines as that battle continues to heat up. Cody Steeg in the Mercedes. Langley going to the outside, way wide, maybe even an off track. Starting to catch Andrew Locke, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. Andrew, a much faster LMP2 machine. Cody Steeg and Blake Langley battling it out here for the second position. Blake Langley all over Cody Steeg like a cheap suit here in the final lap of the race at Fuji Speedway. Looking to the outside, and once again, there's another LMP2 machine coming into the fray. It's the 15 of Sean Roberts. Langley goes to the bottom, and he takes the second spot. Real loose is Cody Steeg. Loses the rear end of the car just a bit. Langley up to P2. They're going to catch Britt Osborne in an inopportune spot. Langley battled hard. He's going to finish this thing out in the second position. Checkered flag is waved. James Vance, your winner at Fuji Speedway. Second win of the season, maybe third. James Vance on a tear as of late. 41 laps they put down in 1 hour here today. Second was Andrew Locke, Sean Roberts third, Kyle Surratt fourth, Leo Tucker was fifth. Big time celebration down into turn number 1 for James Vance. With that, we're going to step aside here, get our final break of the evening out of the way, get our winning drivers from both classes in the LMP2 and GT3 categories. Stay with us, folks. We'll be back after this.
The great thing about youth sports, they give young people an opportunity to participate in something that is going to broaden them as people.
I think it's very amazing that Garza Law Firm has made a commitment to help the youth kids with playing different sports.
Guys like Marcos Garza that put their time into being able to help these kids live out a dream. It's made me who I am today.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Fuji Speedway. The LSR Sportscar Series round number 7 is in the books. We're going to do things a little bit out of order here. Brad Crouch, your GT3 category winner. We're going to go to him first, get a word with the winner in GT3. Bracket Steve in the HBR TV broadcast booth. You got a good copy?
I do. How do you hear me fine?
I got you pretty clear. A couple of hiccups there, but we'll see if we can work our way through it. Congratulations. A win here at Fuji Speedway. This is kind of a new addition to the iRacing service. Pretty recent. How many laps did you have into this place before tonight? Did you do any at all, or is it just kind of something that came kind of naturally to you?
Oh, no. I probably had maybe 60 laps in, something like that. Practiced less than normal, but yeah, about 60 laps.
Well, it certainly showed. We watched quite the battle between yourself and Blake Langley early on. It almost appeared as though you let him go. I'm wondering if there was a strategy involved there, if you're trying to save some fuel. It seemed like you were able to stay close with him in the draft during that time, and you were also the last car on the racetrack to hit pit lane. Was that something that was a plan, or say, yeah, I'm going to try and save some fuel here?
Yeah, with the fuel that was allowed, it didn't take much saving. But yes, I tried to get him in front of me. He was kind of struggling, it seemed, on his tires. And so I'd rather have him in front of me so I could see what was going on. And then, yeah, it certainly helped with the fuel save.
Along the conversation of tires on that fuel stop, I don't recall, did you take tires or did you double stint the set?
I did double stint, and it got pretty crazy there at the end. I had to be pretty careful with my braking zones.
We did see that quite a bit. A lot of guys locking up the rear tires, especially in the slower sections. I know these cars are trimmed out pretty significantly for the straightaway speed that you don't want to sacrifice. So did you have any issues in the braking zone?
No, well, other than just going too deep into corners, and then there's so many blind apexes and just some really off-camera stuff on this track. It's so tough, and I was just missing apexes right and left after I refueled and came back out. So, a lot tougher drive then.
Definitely a tough place. Couldn't have been that bad, though. You brought it home P1. Congratulations. A great job here at Fuji Speedway. We're going to let you go. Before we do, anybody you need to thank before we get you out of here?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank LSR and putting this on. It's a great group of guys. Hope to race with them quite a bit in the future. And for you guys, certainly putting these broadcasts on is awful nice of you.
We certainly do enjoy it.
It's great. It's great. And I guess lastly, just RPM racing. We do quite a bit of this stuff, and it's really starting to pay off for me. So.
All right, Brack. Well, again, congratulations on the win. Good luck next week in Montreal.
All righty, thank you.
This is Brack Crouch, your GT3 winner. Next, like I said, we're doing things a little bit backwards this time. We're going to bring James Vance up into the broadcast booth. James, it's Steve with HBR TV. Do you got a good copy?
Yeah, how's it going, man?
James, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. Just resting after sweating after that 1 hour race. Holy.
You look good out there. I think it was 1 or 2 laps at most that you didn't lead. You put the thing on the pole position. You waited real late to pit. One-stop strategy for most of you guys. What's the key to this place?
I think eliminating those tight and twisty spins, honestly. I had a couple of half spins myself, and they can really get away from you and get pickup on the tires, which then you have to kind of sacrifice the next 2 or 3 laps. So one little mistake kind of turns into like a 2 or 3 lap deficit to the leader if they're not making those types of mistakes. So I think just keeping it clean and trying your best to keep it online, including when you're trying to get by GT traffic too. So just being smart.
We certainly saw a bunch of that tonight, whether it was LMP2 or GT traffic, all having issues, especially later in the run. Tires getting hot, getting worn, deep into the braking zone, spinning the car out, half spin, full spin, doesn't seem to matter, and it really caused guys problems. We did see it quite a bit where guys would have their issues on track, and then a couple turns later, another issue, and then another issue. Like you said, it just compounds, and 2 or 3 laps to get it clean, and finally they can do it again, but then you see them spin another time. So definitely a challenge.
I think another key, honestly, I don't know if you guys saw in the broadcast, I was doing my best to kind of get the tires up to temp early on, but through a way of kind of bringing it up by weaving on the straight after the green flag, trying to bring it up organically rather than sliding and letting it build up that way, as I kind of find it helps a lot more over the stint to have a lot less deviation in how the car feels. So that I think helped me a little bit. But again, being on the pole, having the freedom to do that definitely helped.
Yeah, we saw that for sure going down the front stretch early on. A little bit of weave before you get down into turn 1. Definitely a smart move. We've seen guys in the real world do that. I've seen it myself at the Glen this past June. I think you might have been at the wheel yourself, but nonetheless, it works here too, so congratulations. Next week, this could be kind of a home race for you. I think we go to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. What are your thoughts going out there?
You know, it's a weird one. A lot of people find that track quite frustrating, but I really, really, really thoroughly enjoyed that track a lot. So, yeah, I mean, if I can make it, I'm going to do my best. I'm actually off to Atlanta tomorrow morning for testing for Petit Le Mans. And then I go straight to Austin, Texas for a Porsche race, and then straight back to Florida. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I can make it. And yeah, if I can, I'll do my best to replicate it from the back, I guess, because I'll have an EOL next week.
A tough place to have one for sure. We look forward to it, man. Congratulations. We're going to let you go. Before we do, anybody you need to thank?
Yeah, absolutely. Big thanks to Lone Star Racing and HBR TV, and you guys for putting this all on. It's a blast every week, week in, week out, and I look forward to it. My girlfriend for putting up for my time on the sim, and yeah, my guys at FMDR Esports, and last but certainly not least, Andrew Locke, my teammate. He's always the one pushing me and me pushing him, and yeah, I think we found a really good rhythm on the sim as he came home P2 tonight with literally 0 laps of practice. So it was really, really impressive to see him have that battle for a majority of the race with, I can't remember the guy's name, but he did a really stellar job. So good to see. And yeah, mega thanks to him.
All right, James. So again, congratulations, man. Hope to see you next week, and good luck for Petit.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Steve.
James Vance, your overall and LMP2 winner here at Fuji Speedway. Again, next week we go to Montreal Circuit, Gilles Villeneuve. Again, some guys find it very frustrating, as James Vance had just mentioned. I personally love the place. We did some races there in a GT1 series that we raced in for a while. I think we even ran it in a Radical. I got to go back and look. I'm not 100%, but the place is a blast. It's kind of like a street circuit, though it is kind of a permanent road course at the same time. It's quick, it's unforgiving, but it'll be a blast. So make sure you guys tune in for it next Monday, of course, here on HBR TV. Let's give a minute here. Let's go through the race results. We talked to our class winners. Come on. There we go. A little delay there. Talked to James Vance. We talked to Brad Crouch. The overall, James Vance, Andrew Locke, Sean Roberts. That was your top three. That was who James was talking about, battling with his teammate Andrew Locke. Sean Roberts, the Shenandoah Shine machine. They finished second, third. Kyle Surratt has had some pace here this season as well. Finishes P4. Leo Tucker, he was fifth. Garrett Hagen, sixth. Matt Sisler, seventh. Nigel Stock, eighth. Dave Tamira was ninth. Kyle Moyer was 10th. This is the overall standings. Again, they're categorized by color. The blue you see in the standings, that indicates GT3. iRacing has recently changed the color codings for whatever reasons of the LMP2 category. They're almost grayed out or see-through. Nonetheless, look for the blue if you're looking for GT. Brad Crouch, your winner. Blake Langley. A tough afternoon. I think if he'd able to keep things clean, he definitely would have had some more for Brack. Remains to be seen. We'll see how things go next week. Cody Stieg was 13th overall. Chris Pio, 14th. James Bomar was the 15th place finisher. 16th went to Andy Spicer. Bill Mulfeld was 17th. Britt Osborne finished in the 18th position. 19th went to PM Beagle. He was 10 laps down, had his troubles today. Tyson Pankow, not Tyler. Thank you, Mental 024, for filling me in on that. I don't know how that happened, but it happens. Tyson, not Tyler, the number 91 Slapdash Motorsports entry, finishes 20th after an incident that took him out of the race effectively. Kevin Blue credited with 21st as an admin. Jesse Redding, 22nd, also as an admin, 40 laps down, as they did not take the green flag here today. So 20-car field. It was a pretty good split. It's a big racetrack. It looked kind of empty, even though there was 20 different race cars out there on track. But if we had 20 cars at Montreal next week, it's going to look really busy. So we may have even more, because that's a track that's been on the service for quite some time. I would expect a lot more people to have it, be more willing to come out and turn some laps. Nonetheless, I look forward to it one way or another. Make sure you guys tune in for it. If you haven't already done so, make sure you hit the like and subscribe and share and all the good stuff. Turn the notifications on. Facebook.com/HBRTV, the number 1. Also on YouTube, HBRTV1. We use the same handle for both sides. We do multi-stream to both platforms, so you can watch at your pleasure. I prefer to go to the YouTube, but that's just me. We got more racing coming up this week. Tomorrow, Superior Class Auto Racing Premier Series. That goes live at 9 p.m. Wednesday, we've got the Old Farts Sim Racing, the Concrete Floors Next Gen Series. Thursday, the LSR Truck Series. I will not be available for it, so unfortunately no broadcast for that. I have to travel for work. I will not be available. Then Saturday, tune back in for, I believe, the last race of the season for the Numb Thumbs Racing League ARCA Series. Championship on the line. Again, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for everybody in the stream chat. We have Kevin Blue saying hello, Chris Gones, Joe Tucker, Mental 024 correcting me. I do appreciate that. Not even being sarcastic. I make mistakes. I do appreciate that. Matt Sisler just jumping in. I had damage apparently early, and the car was absolutely awful until I pit. Sisler usually has some pretty good pace in these things, and I was surprised to see him where he was, but that certainly does explain it. Damage does not help, especially when you're going down that long front straightaway here at Fuji. That's all I got, everybody. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you at the next one. Thanks for watching.